The colors have faded as we wrap this season up and heading into winter here. Things are looking drab. Hey guys, it's Mr. Jeff. I'm out here on top of a mountain out in the middle of nowhere, PA. And speaking of colors, if you've been on my channel for any length of time, you probably discovered that I've talked about colors of fungi, talked about the electromagnetic spectrum and how these colors are perceived in nature through our eyes and all that jazz, right? So I've covered that, but I really didn't dive into the color black. Check this out. So I've got this little portion of a twig here, came from a little stick, right? But what is this black on it? Is that mold? What is this? Well, folks, what might not be a surprise to some of my mycological friends out there, but to the public, I don't know if y'all know that black color that comes from fungi, as you see these streaks in the wood here, that's melanin. Yeah, melanin, like in our skin, that gives us a tan, right? Now granted, my melanin is not as dark as this melanin because there's different kinds of melanin out there, guys. Let's get into this. So y'all remember the videos I had on polyphenols? I even went into things like phenolic acids. I think I might have even mentioned hydroxybenzols. I don't remember everything, but I even had a video on tannins, tannic acid, and these compounds, which are basically found in tree bark. And that's kind of what gives tree bark its color of this grayish tone. What you're getting, you're actually seeing a compound that functions similar to melanin in fungi and humans. But what am I getting at? Let's check this out. On the side of my truck, of course, right? So here we are. All right, I've got on the side of my truck just a handful of melanin precursors found in nature. Many of these are found in plants. Yeah, plants have melanin too, guys. So we've got these different, we'll call these phenolic compounds that are, we'll say we've got these hydroxyl groups, dihydroxyphenolic compounds. Two on this one too. You see these scattered around. It's not important so much for y'all to know the names of these, right? You're not getting tested here. But I see a trend. I want you to notice a trend, a pattern here. Gallic acid found in tannins, found in the tannic compounds in the tree barks, which that's going to come later, guys. Caffeic acid. This one is a fungal melanin precursor. Some of these are found in plants and bacteria. This guy right here, found in mammals, found in us even. L,3,4-dihydroxyphenylalanine, aka L-dopa. I underlined the D, the O, the P, and the A to show you that. L-dopa is the precursor to dopamine, and dopamine is all involved in this melanin process too, guys, which is wild. If you go back, watch the video I did on Parkinson's disease and fungi, and I mentioned melanin in that, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway, the importance of having these phenolic compounds. Well, what you have in these phenolic compounds is resonance. You have an electron that's dissociated. It's able to, or not dissociated, but delocalized, not stuck to any particular atom, but is shared amongst these carbons. What is that doing? I noticed in the video I did on fungal colors that those compounds that give us the ability, you know, that we see color from, have this resonance. Remember, I pulled out that big fancy word conjugation, how you had alternate double and single bonds, allowing the electron to delocalize. Well, that's also happening when you have that benzene ring, guys. And I'm pretty sure that's playing a role here in the way melanin is able to absorb sunlight, just as those color combos, or those colored molecules were able to pull and absorb certain bandwidths of light and reflect certain bandwidths of light because of that resonance. Well, resonance in the role of melanin's ability to do the same thing with sunlight. It's because of this. It's because of these guys. Melanin is actually a polymer of a lot of these compounds, aggregated, joined together, linked together to form flat sheets. And then those sheets get stacked on top of each other. And in some way, they're able to absorb bandwidths of light. And I do think that the thickness and the measurements on a molecular scale, I'm talking really tiny, right? That probably plays a factor on which bandwidths it's able to absorb. And maybe the full mass of melanin on the body of an organism, say an organism such as us, being multiple feet tall, having big area of melanin on our skins, or on our skins, is going to absorb bigger bandwidths perhaps than what could be done on something that's smaller, like on a microscopic scale. It may not be able to absorb wide bandwidths, but regardless, it has the ability to absorb in these narrow bandwidths, these wavelengths. That's where the high energy is, and that's where melanin's potential is in protecting us from harmful radiation, ionizing radiation. It's able to take that ionization process that's happening and convert that into either a dissipant form of energy that's not as harmful to the organism, or, and this is the kicker, guys, instead of it taking like UV radiation and just transferring it into something that's not as harmful, like heat, what if fungi, and correlatively, if that's a word, us and mammals and those that have melanin, what if we're actually taking sunlight, the harmful radiation of the sunlight, UV and beyond, and we're actually benefiting from it in a sense, not just changing the energy so it doesn't harm us, but it benefits us by converting that energy into something that's useful, that we can expend toward our metabolism in a similar way that chlorophyll works in plants. Chlorophyll is taking bandwidths of visible light and converting that into energy for the water molecule to be split, right? And for the process of making sugar, photosynthesis. Well, check this out, guys. Right, we went over on the other side of the truck. Isn't that sky beautiful behind me with the blue and the color of the clouds? Why do I love these colors in nature so much? Anyway, man. So here we go. Let's compare chlorophyll versus melanin. Well, chlorophyll we know is found in plants, also algae, cyanobacteria, and some animals. I think it's sea slugs or sea cucumbers or something. There's a marine animal that actually, through its diet, I think it eats algae or eats some kind of chlorophyll containing life that ends up taking that chlorophyll and moving it to its own skin. So I had to include that on there. Anyway, melanin, on the other hand, is found throughout prokaryota and eukaryota. We're talking bacteria that produce melanin, and eukaryota are going to be your like multicellular organisms, your plants, your animals, your fungi, protists, us bigger life forms. Melanin is found throughout. Here we go, let's keep going. Chlorophyll absorbs some visible light. We know that because it reflects green. It's not absorbing green, so it doesn't absorb all. Melanin, on the other hand, especially darker melanins, that's dependent on the type of the melanin structure, because you have different forms of melanin. I'm not even getting into different forms of melanin here in this video, but that's the reason why some folks will tan differently than others. Some folks are going to be rich in melanin, and some folks are going to have melanin of a different sort that it doesn't catch all the bandwidth. So they may have more of a reddish tone. Blonde hair and redheads are going to have this altered form of melanin, for example. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. But dark melanin, especially fungal melanin, the kind that you saw in that little sample I showed you, that absorbs full spectrum light. including high energy short wavelength, that ionizing stuff that I talked about in that fungal colors video I did about a month or so ago. Anyway, let's keep this going. Where are we going with this? This is crazy stuff to me. Why? Because we know chlorophyll can dissociate water molecules. But did you know that melanin can do that as well? Melanin may actually be a more broad spectrum energy transducer from light than chlorophyll. And if that's the case, it's not even an if. What if I told you that they've already detected, we already know that there's molds and fungi in those old Chernobyl reactors where the sunlight's not getting in there. And yet they're able to take that ionizing radiation, gamma rays, I'm talking the stuff that would kill us. And they're not just taking it and absorbing it and kind of disperse, or how do I say this? You know, converting the ionizing radiation to non-ionizing radiation like heat, just to dissipate and waste it away. No, they're feeding off of it. They are growing off of gamma radiation. You got some incredible Hulk molds in the Chernobyl reactor, guys. And they have the audacity to call it radiosynthesis. But here's the kicker. Radiosynthesis is photosynthesis. It's light. It's photon energy. It's just a different bandwidth than the visible light that plants are using, right? But they're still doing the synthesis. Chlorophyll functions as a light energy transducer. Did I just say that? Melanin, same, but I think even more so. So maybe, guys, in conclusion with this video, I know this is kind of off the typical path of a mushroom video, but I really want you to think about next time you see a mushroom getting a tan in the sun, shiitake getting dark, or black mold. That darkness in these fungi, that's melanin. And that could very well be producing them energy in a similar fashion how plants are getting energy from the sun, guys. And we might be too. So, I don't know. I've heard of things like breatharians, these people that say they don't have to eat food. They get their energy from the sunlight and breathing. There might be something to that, right? I'm not saying it's all, but how do we know? I mean, let's not forget plants. Yeah, they're getting energy from the sun, but they still pulling food. They're pulling food they're getting their carbon source from carbon dioxide through the air and through the ground, through the roots. They're getting nitrogen and carbon and water. We have to do the same thing. We just so happen to go out and have to go and mobily get it, right? And put it inside us. My point is, we are scarfing up elementals, putting them in us, just like plants, and we're doing processes inside us to convert these things into the scaffolding, the structure, the body mass, just like they do. And the metabolic processes that allow these to happen could just be coming in a similar fashion to plants as it is in us and fungi from the sun. Shoot, they told us put sunscreen on because the sun is harmful. It causes cancer. I'm starting to doubt what they told me as a kid. I think the sun's good for us, guys. I think there's something to be said about soaking in those rays. Hey, it's Mr. Jeff, Pennsylvania's favorite rock star mushroom hunter. If you stayed to the end of this video and you haven't hit the like button, help me out. Hitting the like button doesn't mean you're going to get... Well, it might mean you might get more notifications. But what it really is going to do for me is get this video in front of more people. You're helping my channel grow that way. Appreciate you. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you want more of these crazy fungi videos, hit the subscribe button. Appreciate you. And until next time... Oh, and don't stay after for the after party, because this is a premiere video. On the premieres, I have an after. I'm not going to be there tonight for the after. We're going to switch up our after party chat discussion for these videos to a different night of the week. That's coming up. But we're going to, as we adjust the format, as we move with the seasons, hopefully this channel will keep growing. I appreciate you guys. Hey, now until next time. Peace.
Mr. Jeff would has no end. Mushroom hunter, bear defeater, a man whose heart beats from the ether.